Virtual summits are the most powerful online marketing tool available to grow your list, launch your platform, make more money, and create an impact in the world, even if you're just getting started. If you are ready to take your summit to the next level, then tune into the Virtual Summit Podcast with Dr. Mark T. Wade.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mark T. Wade, founder of Virtual Summit Software and creator of the One Day Summit Formula. And I'm on a mission to help you, the summit host, get your summit out to the world in a powerful and impactful way. So let's get started. Hey, Summit hosts, Dr. Mark T. Wade here, founder of Virtual Summit Software and your host on the Virtual Summit Podcast. I am excited about today's episode. We're going to be diving into a topic that is going to help you niche down and level up your upcoming summit. I've got legendary Eden Freed with me, founder of Rebel Boss University. She's earned $32,000 on summits in her first year. She's also built an audience to several thousand completely independently. I am so excited to have you here with us, Eden.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited for this conversation.
Oh, we're going to have some fun. We're going to dive into your experiences and your successes. And I know you got some amazing wisdom you're going to share with the audience. Now, before we dive into that, would you just let our summit host know just a little bit more about yourself?
Absolutely. So my name is Eden Freed. I am a digital product coach. So I teach aspiring business owners, mostly women, how to turn passions into products that they can sell online. I do that through Rebel Boss University. It's a membership program where I teach you how to create and launch a product in 90 days. And I'm also the host of the Rebel Boss Virtual Summit, which happens twice per year, featuring 25 plus digital product experts. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Oh, yes, we are, Eden. Yes, we are. So with this, one of the things I want to point out we were talking about in our pre-interview chat was the fact you ran 2 summits in 1 year, back to back, essentially. Can you kind of talk to us just a little bit about that concept before we get into the niching down aspect? Talk to us. What was going on in that genius mind of yours over there when you decided to do that?
Yeah, so if I'm being completely honest with you, it was not the original plan. I thought that I would host a summit once a year, but I hosted the first one. It was in February of this past year, and it took me, they say it takes like 90 days at a minimum to plan a summit. So I took exactly that window of time, and it was crazy and chaotic, but so much fun and obviously really, really successful. At the end of that summit, I just said to myself, you know what is the point in waiting an entire year to do this again? Theoretically, the thing that drives your attendees and the success of your summit are the speakers. So I thought to myself, well, if I can get a whole new roster of speakers, then I should be able to get a new roster of attendees, and the summit should be equally as successful, if not more. Tested that theory 6 months later, and it proved to be correct.
That is awesome. Like back-to-back summits, both equally successful. Let's focus in on to when you decided to do your first summit. How did you kind of create a different angle or unique spin? What was that process that you were thinking, and what did you end up doing?
So I had done my homework on summits. It was kind of in my head for a long time that I wanted to host one. Didn't really know what I wanted to do with it, but decided that I really wanted to be different from everyone else. And when I was browsing the web, exploring market research, as they say, I noticed that most summits out there are very, very generic. They feature lots of different types of speakers covering a wide range of different topics. And I wanted to be extremely specific on the opposite end of the spectrum. I wanted to focus only on digital products. And that's really because my business focuses on digital products. I don't teach people everything. I just teach people about digital product creation and launch strategy. And I'm really good at it. So I thought, you know what, let's get a bunch of other experts on different related topics to digital products, pull them together, and we'll make that the focus of the summit. And I think that because it was so specific, it did a really good job in attracting the right audience who was willing to attend and participate, willing to upgrade their free tickets to the all access pass, and willing to implement what they learned to get results.
Virtual Summit's software makes hosting a summit easier than ever. The only software in the world designed specifically for hosting a summit lets you set up a summit in a matter of hours with no tech skill or team needed. You can try out the Virtual Summit's software free at virtualsummits.com. But hurry, this is a limited offer.
So when you were deciding on this, and obviously this makes incredible sense. Instead of going broad, you went niche, and you did it in alignment with your platform, your business. Now, when you were thinking about the audience, like, did you do any kind of decision making around the audience, or did you go audience and then back to the product, or did you start with the product or the theme and then go to the audience? Like, what were you thinking when it came to like who your audience was going to be and how to best serve them?
Yeah, I love that question. I think when people are creating any kind of product, and I would consider a virtual summit a version of a product, they always say, let me come up with this idea and I'll find the people later. And I think it should be the other way around. You got to find the people and know that there's a need and then give them what they need. So it always, for me, starts with the audience. Because I've been in the space for a while, I knew who my audience was and I knew where they were hanging out. So the majority of my audience consists of women who are like young moms, or they're either retirees. It's an interesting mix. But I knew that they were the people who wanted to add some additional quote unquote passive income into their lives, either to avoid going back to work after maternity leave or to support their spouses, add additional income. So I was very, very, very familiar with who my audience was and where they're hanging out, which helped me create the kind of event and cultivate the kind of virtual environment that would be really conducive for them and their learning.
Yeah, and then that's going to just increase the success of the whole platform because they feel like,
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about this all the time. Like the messaging is so important because we're getting bombarded with so much stuff. When your audience feels like you're talking to them, that's when they zone in. So I love that you just mentioned that right there. So now we talked about aligning the product and aligning it with the person. Can we kind of let's talk about the benefits. First off, your summits did very well. But what were the benefits? And a lot of times we get so focused on the leads and the profits, which are both important and fun. But what were some of the other like non-tangible benefits that came out of your summit?
I would say the best benefits. Like I mentioned to you earlier before we started recording, for me, the driving force of hosting a summit was not the money. I would have considered it successful if I had just covered my expenses. For me, I really wanted a way to grow my network of colleagues, I guess you could call them, really expand my reach with other people who are doing great things online that are kind of in complementary niches to my own. And having a summit meant that I was inviting tons of people to come and speak, and that was giving them something. They say if you want to network with someone, you give before you ask for anything in return. And when you're a speaker at a summit, you get a lot. So I was giving a lot as a summit host to my speakers, which helped build a really strong relationship with them. That was a huge benefit for me. I was on tons of podcasts as a result of that first summit, and I hosted several JV webinars, and lots of other incredible partnerships blossomed as a result of that first invitation to speak at the summit. In addition to that, just expertise. Before I started hosting summits, I was hosting webinars really regularly. And I now consider virtual summits like a webinar on steroids. You're kind of hosting like 25 webinars at once. And so lots of people are getting to know you at one time within a very short window, within like 3 to 4 days, depending on how long your summit is. So I went from people knowing me to lots and lots of people knowing me in a really short span of time. And that is a very, very powerful thing in the online business world. So I would say those are probably the two benefits beyond just the money.
It's powerful and it's fun too, right? Like you get
Yes.
people know you like, hey, I know you. That's cool. We all love that. So you mentioned like you gave a lot to your speakers, and that's been a reoccurring message that's come out both in the pre-interview chat and in this live episode. Can you talk kind of specifically to like what did you decide to give, and how maybe did you decide to do it?
So it's interesting because you don't even need to do that much to give your speakers a lot of value. Just by giving them a speaker spot, they are getting so much value because you've curated an amazing audience of people that they may not know. So it's really great for them. So I would say that's the biggest value incentive for a speaker that I was able to give, I guess, in a sense. Just them having that 45-minute window to speak in front of thousands of people without them having to pay anything, without them needing to apply. All they needed to do was show up with quality content and deliver that content, and they got tons of leads. The next thing was the ability for them to self-promote a free product or service. So they couldn't promote something that was paid, but they could promote like a lead magnet freebie, whatever you call it, at the end of their presentation for a few seconds. And I included a button to for people to opt into that, so they could generate quality, qualified leads just from being a speaker. And then in addition to that, all of my speakers were affiliates. And, that might not sound like such a powerful thing, but my speakers generated lots and lots of money just by sending a simple email or two to their email list. They didn't have to do any work. I wrote all the emails. I created all the social media graphics. I did all of the legwork for them. All they needed to do was sign up for the affiliate program and use their affiliate link to promote the virtual summit to their audience, which is a free event. So it's not even that painful of a process. They're not going to get a lot of unsubscribes when you're promoting such a high quality free event. And just by including those affiliate links, lots of them made several hundred to over $1,000.
I think we can all agree making money is always a positive or value add. So we'll take that. When you were mentioning that you got them to promote or that they were eager to promote, was there anything in additional, like I personally believe that when you provide an amazing or an exceptional experience and value to your speakers, that's the best way to get them to promote. But did you have any additional strategies that you used with that in mind? Like how can we kind of go over and above? You mentioned you did some of the content already made for them, but was there any kind of strategic thing where you reached out to them or you did other things to really encourage them to promote in a nice or kind way?
Yeah, I would say that my affiliate management was probably the most important aspect of my success in both summits. Um, Speakers, affiliates will probably only do 50% of what you expect them to do, and that's on a good day. It's your responsibility as a summit host to hold their hand as much as possible and make things as stupid easy as you possibly can. So in addition to providing all of those resources for them, I made everything insanely easy and in one place. I have been a speaker at summits before. I'm not going to name any names or call anyone out, but has been lots of confusion and I'm not sure where to find certain resources and everything's kind of all over the place. So the first thing I do is I have a speaker or affiliate page on my website. Literally any question they could possibly have is answered on that page. Any link to any resource they could possibly need is on that page. As people emailed me questions, I would go to that web page and add their question because I knew somebody else would eventually ask that question. So the web page was really, really influential in supporting them and making it easy. I also emailed them very regularly. Everybody always says, I don't want to bother people with email, but I want to bother people with email. I want them to know exactly what's going on and have all the information. And in every email, all of the information is there because as we all know, someone might open one email and not open the next, or they might skip the first 5 and read the 5th one. And if you only included information in lots of different emails, then they are missing half of the information. So every email had all of the information. And I was also regularly tracking affiliate statistics and numbers, clicks, all that good stuff. So if somebody wasn't getting clicks and I saw that there was absolutely no action on their affiliate link, I reached out to them. All of my speakers were contractually obligated to promote. So if I saw that there were no clicks on an affiliate link, I pretty much knew that they were not holding up their end of the bargain. I hold up my end of the bargain as the summit host, so I expect all of my speakers to do the same. So I would reach out to them and say, hey, what can I do to help support you? I noticed you don't have any clicks. Let me know if you need additional resources. Here's how much time you have left, and here's what you still need to do. So I would say don't be afraid to get in their face and and really support them, and also hold them to their word.
That is gold right there. I'm over here writing everything down because this is so much great information, and it's true, and we know it. And again, like you've said, you're providing a lot of value to the speaker. It's important that they hold up their end of the bargain. I like how professionally and yet with courtesy that you were able to do that. So when you've done, and we talked about this a little bit in the pre-interview chat as well, like on the outside things look so polished and so professional, but occasionally that's not what it always looks like on the backside. So can you tell us a little bit about that, and maybe specifically what were a few things that other summit hosts should potentially be aware of if they're getting ready to host a summit?
Yeah, so the first time I hosted my summit, I did it completely independently. I had absolutely no support whatsoever. And I have, virtual assistants and a team of people that help me with other aspects of my business, but this was a new aspect I'd never done before. And I felt like it was challenging to delegate tasks when I wasn't really familiar with how to do them myself. And so that was just a leadership challenge on my part. Because I did it all myself, first of all, it's remarkable that I was as successful as I was. So hopefully that's some motivation that progress over perfection is definitely the mantra here. But there were some broken links. There was just not enough time in the day for me to get everything done, support all of my speakers, edit all of the videos. Truly everything that you saw in the entire summit that first time around was me. That being said, after I completely crashed and burned after I hosted the first summit, I was high with the success of it, but totally worn out from the work. I made a list of all the things that I could offload to somebody else to do. So all of the repeatable tasks, the mundane, boring stuff, the graphic creation, setting up the website pages, importing the videos, like all that silly stuff that's important, it needs to get done, but is kind of brainless. I made a list of all those things and I hired somebody. The next time around, I did training videos on how to do all of those tasks so that if I need a new assistant in the future, I could easily use the same training videos for that person. I created an Asana project and imported those training videos. So anytime there's a task, there's a training video associated with each of those tasks so people know how to do them no matter who the assistant is. And I had an amazing assistant the first time around. I won't be needing to hire somebody else because she's incredible and she did a remarkable job. And it took about like 50% of the workload off of my shoulders. So that was the biggest thing for me, is not realizing initially how much work it was going to be on the back end, the technical stuff and everything in between, and not really realizing how much support I would need. And really making sure that I adjusted the strategy next time, hired that support so that we could execute the same event with higher quality and with less stress on me.
Be sure to check out the speaker management tool inside your Virtual Summit software, which lets you quickly and easily recruit and manage your speakers on your virtual summit, literally eliminating hundreds of hours of work. Get more information at virtualsummits.com.
That is so true. That was the whole premise of why the Virtual Summit software even became into existence, because of those so difficult but important tasks. So I love that. Kind of switching gears just a little bit. I would love to hear a little bit about, because you did have such great success with the promotion and the cash flow, what was, if you wouldn't mind unpacking your summit offer and how you decided what to put into that offer, what you loved about it, and maybe what you would change about it?
Yeah, so it was a little bit different the first time around than the second, because obviously I had lots of lessons learned. So the first time around, my Summit All Access Pass included lifetime access to all of the videos. If you didn't purchase the All Access Pass, the videos would expire after 24 hours. So you could attend for free theoretically, but there's a chance you would miss a lot of the sessions because we're all busy and we can't sit watching 8 training videos a day for 3-4 days. So you would get you would get lifetime access. And then there were some bonuses included, some like mini workshops and resources that I had thrown in to increase the value. So that was what the All Access Pass was. I was charging $47 for it. And it did increase a little bit in price, but the price was pretty low that first time. And because of the low price and the high value, it sold incredibly well and easily. And the second time around, I knew that I wanted to really beef up the All Access Pass. Like I wanted it to be a complete no-brainer. No one had to even think about whether or not it was something that they should purchase. It was like silly of them not to purchase. That's what I wanted people to be feeling. So I not only included my own resources in addition to the lifetime access to everything, but I invited all of my speakers to contribute their paid products. And I wasn't sure how this would go because, sometimes we hold our paid products so tightly and we don't want to let anyone have them for free, but it's not technically for free. So I thought, I'm going to give it a try. And my speakers were very generous. I had people contributing courses and resources that were valued at over $500, over $300, and people could get the All Access Pass this time around for $67. So it was an insane value. I think the value was like over $3,500 or something, and you could get it for $67 if you purchased within the first 20 minutes of signing up. So lots of lessons learned. Like I said, pretty much my goal was just to stuff as much value as possible into the All Access Pass to make it a really sweet deal.
And with that, between the 47 and the 67, did you look at the numbers? Like, was there a much bigger increase in purchases with that? So
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I do have that. I don't have the breakdown exactly in front of me right now, but I can tell you that the first time I hosted my summit, I had a big chunk of my profit actually came from a sponsor. The second time around, I did not have a sponsor and I made the same amount of money. So that shows you that I earned not only from the price increase, but I had I think the same number of customers the second time around, but with the price increase and not having the sponsor, I obviously had much more success.
Yeah, that is great right there. And with that, on your next summits, will you be increasing the price, or do you feel like that's a pretty solid price level to stay at right there?
You know what? I haven't really considered that yet. I kind of, I hosted 2 in a row and I'm like, let's take a little bit of a break here. But it's definitely something that's on my mind and I will consider it. But I do think that $67 was a comfortable place for a lot of people to be. And you have to keep in mind also that the $67 was only for the first 20 minutes. If you didn't purchase in that first 20-minute window after signing up for your free ticket, then the price immediately went up to $97. And there are lots of people who don't purchase in that first 20-minute window. So I had some people purchasing at $97. Some people, if they purchase after a certain date, it went up to like $127. So people were purchasing at lots of different tiers depending on when in the cycle they signed up or what date it was in the calendar. So 67 is, I think, a good price for that tripwire, that one-time offer, but I might mess around with the later on pricing.
Oh no, I like that. I didn't understand that going into that. So that was the tripwire and it went up. Okay, that is great, and that's really good information to know there. Did you have like maybe and we didn't discuss this in the pre-interview chat. I'm just curious if you had any kind of order bumps, or after the summit was over, did you have a special promotion that you were taking your audience into after? If so, could you break that down a little bit for us?
Yeah, absolutely. I had order bumps on everything. And there were different tiers of the product itself. So you could buy just like the basic All Access Pass, which had lots of stuff in it, or you could buy the All Access Pass, which which is like the gold all access pass that had video transcriptions for you, notes, and like a few other bonuses as well. And whether you bought the tripwire or you bought it later on, like all of those options were there for you. And interestingly, there was a high conversion rate for people who chose the most expensive option at any point in the sales funnel. So that was really interesting. The notes that I did, if anyone's interested, I literally had somebody listen to the videos and write notes out. It was like a $19 order bump. You could get those notes written out. And it was kind of marketed as, you probably don't have time to listen to all these videos, but you still want to learn the information. So here's somebody that's like actually taken the notes for you and just read the notes. So lots of people purchased that as an order bump, and it was an easy thing to generate and high value for the attendees. So I didn't have an order bump the first time I did the summit, but I would say that, my frame of mind the first time around is keep things simple, because it was your first time hosting a summit. Why make yourself crazy? Second time around, I was like, all right, let me try some new tricks here. And the order bump was like really fun to do, really easy, and definitely was financially lucrative.
I can see that you like a challenge. You're not just going to stick with the status quo. You're like, all right, how can we up our game here?
Yeah.
Cool. So let's switch gears a little bit from that and move over more into like the marketing promotional aspect of your summit. Did you have both from the first summit and the second summit? What was, in addition to the speaker promotion, did you have any kind of marketing strategy? How did it change and how did it go?
So, like I said before, my number one goal is always the speaker promo, because the speakers are the ones that bring the audience. If I were to market just to my own audience, I'm not going to have a new pool of people. So it's not really that useful. So the first time around, I did send invitations to my own email list. So that's an easy thing to do. But I also had an ad campaign, hired an ads manager. I would say, I'm trying to remember the numbers, but the ads broke even, which is a success. Obviously, if anyone is familiar with ads, if you break even on them, you're doing pretty well for yourself. So yeah, I broke even on the ads. The second time around, I decided to not try the ad campaign and see if that made a difference. And it really didn't negatively impact anything at all. So the second time around, my promotion strategy was pretty much just focus on the speakers, like give the speakers everything that they could possibly need to have success promoting. And that's it. I obviously sent those invites to my own list and shared on my own social media channels, but everything came from the speakers.
With the Ever Summit feature inside the Virtual Summit software, you can rerun your summit as if it were live, ongoing forever with one click of a button. This now lets you continue to use your summit forever, bringing in qualified and engaged leads every month into your business. Get more information at virtualsummit.com.
And that's always the best way for the summit. It's the easiest, most powerful way. A warm intro to their audience is the way we're going to go. So as we start to round out and wrap up this session here, I'd love to know, kind of now looking back on both of the summits, like when you go to do your next one, or if you choose to do a next one, like what's like one main thing that you think you would do different or that you're going to do different?
I would say every time I'm going to host this summit, I'm going to play around with how I can continue to add value in that all access pass, how I can continue to increase the conversion rate on my sales pages. I already know that I've mastered the art of selecting quality speakers and providing value. Now it's a game of what can I do to make this summit convert at a higher rate? What new things can I try? Like you said, it's kind of fun to to mess around with those things and test different ideas out. But yeah, I would say that's probably going to be my number one focus from the business side, from my end. But another thing that I want to try out, which has been on my mind for a while, is having breakout sessions led by people who are not currently speakers, because in that way, they would be additional people who can promote the summit, but they're not necessarily taking up a traditional speaker spot. This time around, I did have breakout sessions for people who purchased the All Access Pass, but they were led by people who were already speakers. So those people leading those sessions didn't add any more than they already would have if they were just speakers. So next time I'm going to figure out if I can feature some people to lead breakout sessions that aren't currently speakers so that they can also bring their audience.
I love that. That is so great. And you made me think of a concept here as we're talking about, you did back-to-back summits and you're obviously running other things. You said on the first one, you had a team, but you didn't even necessarily bring them into the summit. Can you talk a little bit about time management around this? Like, were you doing other things as well? Or did you go, I'm just working on the summit? And if not, how did you kind of manage your time around that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. The first time I hosted the summit, everything came to a screeching halt, because I was the only one doing everything. At the same time, I should mention that my business is mostly passive. It runs by itself. So even if I'm coming to a screeching halt with all my normal daily activities, my income is still staying the same, if not growing at the same time. So just kind of like a caveat there. But the second time around, having an assistant, I really didn't have to be working on the summit every single day myself. The only thing that I was working on was just helping support my assistant and making sure that she was sticking to deadlines, which was no problem at all. So yeah, I would say that, the first time I hosted the summit, all I needed was 90 days to execute it. The second time around, I started earlier because I was onboarding somebody, and I also wanted to find a new roster of speakers. The third time around, I'm actually going to be having a baby. So I'm totally going to be not even involved in the beginning stages of my summit. And my assistant is going to be doing a lot of it herself, and she's already done it before. I know she can do it again. So time management is less and less of a concern every single time you do it. You get good at it. You know what needs to get done, and you can do it faster.
You'll be able to tell your new little baby boy or girl that they had a part in this summit that
Absolutely.
they played. Excellent. Well, Eden, this has been an absolute pleasure. I'd love for you to just take a moment and let our summit hosts know where they can go follow you at, reach out to you, because I'm sure many of them would like to pick your brain or even follow you further.
Absolutely. So I'm on Instagram at Eden Fried. Fried is spelled like fried, Fried. You can also go check out my summit at rebelbosses.com. You'll get a waitlist sign up form there, but sign up for the waitlist so you can hear when our next summit is going to be, and you can totally stalk the summit, take ideas, borrow ideas, whatever you want. It's all fair game. And feel free to reach out to me there if you have any questions.
Absolutely. We'll put all that information in the show notes over at podcast.virtualsummits.com/079. And then I'd love for you to kind of wrap us up with one kind of parting piece of wisdom or advice for our summit hosts.
I would say my best advice is just do it. Don't worry about it being perfect. As the summit host, you're going to notice all the things that are going wrong, but chances are your attendees will be very grateful to you and enjoy the experience. And, even if things aren't perfect, just focus on providing an incredible, memorable experience to your attendees. Give them all the value you can possibly give. And if that's all that you do, you are successful.
Eden, you're a rock star. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you, all you summit hosts, for spending this time with me and Eden. I'm Dr. Mark T. Wade, founder of Virtual Summit Software. And just remember, your message matters. Make sure you check out the show notes over at podcast.virtualsummits.com/079. And we will see you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening. Now don't forget to subscribe and leave a 5-star review on the Virtual Summit podcast. Head over to the show notes to check out all the links and resources from this episode, and be sure to grab your free trial of the Virtual Summit software.
Now, I want to end this episode by saying to all the summit hosts listening right now, I believe in you, and you can do this. Summits are by far one of the most powerful ways to quickly grow your list, launch your platform, make more money, and most importantly, make an impact in the world, even if you're just getting started. So don't get caught up in analysis paralysis, because the world needs to hear your message, and there are people who are waiting for you to help them. So just get started, because imperfect action is always better than no action. Thank you, and see you on the next episode.